What happens when an alien delegation arrives on Earth claiming peace, but their true intentions remain shrouded in mystery? You won't believe how humanity's first encounter with extraterrestrial life takes a deadly turn and leaves no one untouched. A sudden flash illuminated the night sky, brighter than any meteor or satellite. It wasn't supposed to happen here, not in the quiet town of Silver Ridge nestled between rugged mountains. Yet there it was, a massive craft descending silently, hovering inches above the ground. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, reflecting the moonlight in ways that made eyes hurt if stared at too long. People gathered cautiously, unsure whether to flee or approach. This was humanity's first real brush with the unknown, and curiosity outweighed fear for now. The ship opened slowly, revealing beings unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Tall, slender, with translucent skin that pulsed faintly, they moved with grace that seemed almost unnatural. Their large, luminous eyes scanned the crowd, searching for something. No one spoke. The collective breath of the townsfolk hung heavy in the air. Then came the voice, not audible, but resonating directly within minds. "We come in peace." Those 3 words echoed louder than thunder, shaking every soul present to its core. But something felt off. Not hostile exactly, but unsettling, like being watched by predators pretending to be prey. Some whispered warnings, others dismissed them as paranoia. Still, no one dared move closer. And then, without warning, the delegation stepped forward, extending delicate limbs toward the humans. The moment froze time itself. Would this be the dawn of a new era, or the beginning of an unimaginable nightmare? We've barely begun unraveling the mystery of their arrival, but believe me, things are about to get far more intense. Don't look away, because when the true nature of these visitors becomes clear, you won't want to miss a single detail. Hours passed, yet no one could recall precisely how much time elapsed. The delegation stood motionless, observing the humans with an intensity that bordered on invasive. Despite their claim of peaceful intent, unease rippled through the crowd. Whispers grew louder, questions multiplied. Why were they here? What did they want? Nobody dared ask aloud, fearing the answer might shatter whatever fragile calm remained. Then, unexpectedly, one of the beings raised a hand, pointing toward the horizon. A soft hum filled the air, vibrating through bones and making teeth ache. Lights flickered across the alien vessel, forming patterns that shifted faster than the eye could follow. To those watching, it felt like witnessing a language written in light and sound, a message meant for someone else entirely, or perhaps a test. Among the onlookers stood Dr. Evelyn Carter, an astrophysicist whose research had brought her to Silver Ridge months earlier. She recognized the mathematical precision in the patterns, noting Fibonacci sequences and prime numbers embedded within. Her heart raced. Was this proof of intelligence beyond human comprehension, or bait for something far more dangerous? Before she could act, the delegation turned as one, retreating back into their craft. The hatch sealed shut with a hiss, leaving behind silence so profound it pressed against eardrums. And just like that, they were gone, vanished into thin air, or so it seemed. For those left behind, confusion gave way to dread. Something wasn't right. The delegation hadn't merely departed. They'd taken something with them. Not physical objects, but memories, fragments of thoughts, fleeting images plucked from minds without permission. People stumbled away, shaken and disoriented, unable to articulate what had happened. Only Evelyn remained rooted to the spot, staring at the empty patch of scorched earth where the ship had been. This is where the story truly begins to spiral out of control. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Stay with us as the pieces start falling into place, revealing a puzzle darker than anyone imagined. News traveled fast. Within hours, reporters descended upon Silver Ridge like locusts, hungry for answers. Satellite trucks clogged narrow roads, cameras rolled non-stop, and experts debated endlessly on live television. Yet none of them understood the gravity of what had occurred. To the world outside, it was a spectacle, a tantalizing glimpse of extraterrestrial life. But for those who'd witnessed it firsthand, it was a wound that refused to heal. Dr. Carter became the reluctant face of the incident. Her expertise thrust her into the spotlight, forcing her to recount details she barely comprehended herself. Each interview drained her further, chipping away at her resolve. But beneath the exhaustion lay determination. Something about the delegation gnawed at her, tugging at instincts honed over decades of scientific study. There was purpose behind their actions, calculated, deliberate purpose. Meanwhile, government agents arrived in droves, cordoning off the site and interrogating witnesses. Men in black suits carried clipboards and asked pointed questions, their expressions unreadable. Rumors swirled about secret facilities hidden deep underground, places where anomalies like this were dissected and analyzed. Evelyn found herself summoned to one such facility, a stark, windowless room lit by harsh fluorescent lights. There, she met Commander Marcus Hale, a grizzled veteran of classified operations. His demeanor exuded authority, but his eyes betrayed weariness. He wasted no time getting to the point. "You saw the patterns," he stated bluntly. It wasn't a question. Evelyn nodded, bracing herself for what came next. "Good, because we need your help figuring out why they're still here." Still here? Evelyn's blood ran cold. She hadn't considered the possibility. But as Hale laid out fragmented reports of strange phenomena occurring worldwide, unexplained power surges, bizarre weather patterns, livestock mutilations, it became clear the delegation hadn't left. They were simply waiting. Days turned into weeks, and the world teetered on edge. Governments issued conflicting statements, oscillating between reassurance and thinly veiled panic. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens reported encounters that defied logic. Farmers claimed to have seen shadowy figures moving among their crops at night. Pilots described unidentified crafts darting across skies with impossible speed. Even skeptics couldn't ignore the mounting evidence. Something was happening, and it wasn't natural. Evelyn threw herself into decoding the patterns left behind by the delegation. Late nights blurred together as she scoured data, searching for meaning in chaos. Her breakthrough came unexpectedly, sparked by a childhood memory of stargazing with her father. Constellations, that was the key. When overlaid onto a star map, the patterns formed coordinates leading to a distant solar system billions of miles away. Excitement surged through her veins. This was it, the clue everyone had been chasing. But excitement quickly soured into apprehension. What if the coordinates weren't an invitation but a warning? What if following them led straight into danger? Doubts plagued her, yet she knew she couldn't keep the discovery to herself. Reluctantly, she shared her findings with Commander Hale, who listened intently before nodding grimly. "Pack your bags, Doctor," he said. "You're going to space." The announcement hit like a punch to the gut. Space travel wasn't part of the plan, at least not hers. But resistance proved futile. Orders came down from higher-ups, individuals whose names she'd never know. Within days, Evelyn found herself aboard a state-of-the-art spacecraft, hurtling through the void alongside a team of specialists. Their mission: locate the source of the coordinates and determine whether the delegation posed a threat. As the Earth faded into the distance, Evelyn gazed out the viewport, heart pounding. Adventure awaited, but so did uncertainty. The journey tested every ounce of courage Evelyn possessed. Weeks stretched into months as the spacecraft traversed the vast emptiness of space. Crewmates formed bonds born of isolation, sharing stories and laughter to stave off madness. Yet beneath the camaraderie lurked tension, palpable and unspoken. Each day brought them closer to the unknown, and fear simmered just below the surface. Finally, they reached their destination, a desolate planet orbiting a dying star. Its surface gleamed with crystalline structures that refracted light into dazzling rainbows. Beauty masked danger, though. Sensors detected energy readings off the charts, emanating from deep within the planet's core. Whatever powered the delegation originated here, buried beneath layers of rock and ice. Preparations for landing consumed the crew's attention. Equipment checks, simulations, contingency plans, all meticulously executed. Still, nothing could prepare them for what awaited on the surface. As the spacecraft touched down, a deafening roar shook the ground. Dust swirled, obscuring vision, and when it settled, the truth revealed itself. The delegation hadn't come alone. Hundreds of identical ships dotted the landscape, arranged in precise formations that suggested coordination on a scale unimaginable. Figures emerged from the vessels, gliding toward the humans with eerie synchronicity. Evelyn's breath hitched. These weren't explorers or diplomats. They were soldiers. Before anyone could react, the beings surrounded the spacecraft, cutting off escape routes. Communication attempts failed. They ignored all attempts to engage. Instead, they extended tendrils of light, probing the hull with surgical precision. Panic erupted inside the craft as alarms blared and systems began to fail. We're on the brink of revelation. The next moments will change everything. You can't afford to look away now. Stick around, because what unfolds next will leave you questioning reality itself. Chaos reigned as the crew scrambled to regain control of the spacecraft. Systems flickered unpredictably, responding to commands one moment and ignoring them the next. The beings outside continued their methodical assault, wrapping the vessel in a cocoon of pulsating energy. Evelyn clung to her seat, knuckles white, as vibrations rattled the interior. Commander Hale barked orders, trying to maintain order amidst the pandemonium. "Shut it down! All systems!" he shouted, hoping to sever the connection fueling the attack. One by one, circuits powered down, plunging the cabin into darkness. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, a low hum vibrated through the hull, growing louder with each passing second. It wasn't over. Suddenly, the floor beneath them dissolved into light, pulling them downward into an abyss. Screams filled the air as gravity warped, twisting bodies into impossible contortions. Time lost meaning. Seconds stretched into eternities. When the descent finally ended, the crew found themselves sprawled on a metallic surface, dazed and disoriented. Above them loomed an enormous structure, a labyrinthine network of corridors and chambers bathed in ethereal glow. The delegation stood nearby, impassive as ever. Without speaking, they gestured for the humans to follow. Resistance seemed futile. With no choice but to comply, the crew staggered upright and began walking, guided by forces they couldn't comprehend. Every step took them deeper into the alien complex, revealing wonders and horrors alike. Walls pulsed rhythmically, as if alive, while holographic displays depicted scenes of civilizations rising and falling. Among the images, Evelyn spotted something chilling. Depictions of Earth, rendered in painstaking detail. Were they studying humanity or planning its demise? Answers remained elusive, but one thing became clear. Survival depended on unraveling the mysteries of this place. And time was running out. Exploration of the alien structure proved both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Corridors branched endlessly, leading to rooms filled with artifacts that defied explanation. Crystals floated midair, emitting melodies that resonated with emotions rather than ears. Machines hummed softly, performing tasks beyond human understanding. Yet interspersed among these marvels were reminders of danger. Strange symbols etched into walls pulsed ominously, and doors sealed shut behind them, trapping them further inside. Evelyn's mind raced, piecing together fragments of information gleaned along the way. Patterns emerged, connections between the symbols, the crystals, and the delegation's behavior. They weren't random invaders. They were seekers, seekers of something specific. But what? Her musings were interrupted by a sudden commotion ahead. A member of the crew tripped, triggering a cascade of mechanical arms that snatched him up and dragged him into a chamber. Cries for help echoed briefly before silence fell. Shock rippled through the group, freezing them in place. Fear morphed into desperation as they realized the stakes. Failure to understand the aliens' intentions meant certain death. Commander Hale rallied the remaining crew, urging them forward despite the terror gripping their hearts. "We can't stop now," he growled. "Whatever they're after, we need to find it first." His words galvanized them, pushing aside doubt and replacing it with grim determination. Their path led to a massive chamber dominated by a towering construct, a crystalline monolith humming with raw power. Around it orbited smaller crystals, each radiating distinct frequencies. Evelyn approached cautiously, drawn by an inexplicable pull. As her fingers brushed the surface, visions flooded her mind. Images of ancient battles, dying worlds, and desperate pleas for salvation. She staggered back, overwhelmed. "They're not conquerors," she gasped. "They're refugees." Understanding dawned slowly, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. The delegation weren't aggressors seeking domination. They were survivors fleeing extinction. The crystalline monolith housed the remnants of their civilization, preserving knowledge and culture in preparation for rebirth elsewhere. Earth, with its abundant resources and stable environment, represented hope. But hope came at a cost. The delegation's arrival disrupted ecosystems, destabilized climates, and triggered unforeseen consequences. Humanity stood in the way of their salvation, collateral damage in a cosmic struggle for survival. Evelyn wrestled with the implications. Could coexistence be possible, or would conflict inevitably arise? Tensions mounted as the crew debated their options. Some argued for retreat, believing interference would only worsen matters. Others advocated direct action, proposing sabotage to halt the delegation's plans. Arguments escalated, tempers flared, and unity fractured. Amidst the discord, Evelyn struggled to maintain focus. Her gaze kept returning to the monolith, searching for answers hidden within its depths. Inspiration struck unexpectedly, a theory forming from scraps of knowledge accumulated thus far. If the monolith served as a repository, perhaps it also functioned as a communicator, a means to negotiate peace instead of provoking war. With trembling hands, she activated a portable device, syncing it to the monolith's frequency. Data streamed rapidly, overwhelming her senses. Symbols danced across screens, translating alien languages into human terms. Messages emerged, conveying sorrow, regret, and longing. The delegation wasn't evil, it was desperate. Armed with newfound insight, Evelyn faced the crew, pleading for patience and diplomacy. "We have a chance to rewrite history," she declared, "to prove we're capable of compassion even in the face of fear." Skepticism lingered, but hope flickered anew. Together, they devised a plan, one fraught with risk but offering potential reward. Execution proved harrowing. The crew split into teams, each tasked with critical roles in establishing communication. Evelyn coordinated efforts, guiding others through intricate protocols designed to bridge species separated by millennia of evolution. Progress came incrementally, marked by small victories overshadowed by looming threats. Outside the alien structure, storms raged with increasing ferocity. Lightning crackled across skies painted in hues never seen on Earth. Nature itself seemed to rebel against the intrusion, channeling fury into elemental wrath. Inside, the delegation observed proceedings with detached interest, neither aiding nor hindering. Time grew short, supplies dwindled, morale wavered, and exhaustion claimed holdouts one by one. Yet perseverance endured, driven by belief in a better outcome. Finally, after endless hours of labor, a breakthrough occurred. A faint signal transmitted from the monolith, carrying a simple message: "We hear you." Relief washed over the crew, mingled with disbelief. Against all odds, contact had been established. Dialogue commenced haltingly, hindered by linguistic barriers and mistrust. Misunderstandings abounded, nearly derailing negotiations multiple times. Patience wore thin, fraying nerves to breaking points. Yet persistence paid off. Gradually, mutual comprehension improved. Shared goals emerged: preservation of life, protection of resources, pursuit of harmony. Bonds formed tentatively, fragile threads weaving disparate entities into a tentative alliance. Hope blossomed, fragile but real. Climactic confrontation arrived unexpectedly. Just as agreements solidified, tremors rocked the alien structure. Alarms blared, warning of imminent collapse. Panic surged, threatening to undo hard-won progress. Chaos erupted as everyone scrambled to evacuate, abandoning equipment and plans alike. Amidst the turmoil, Evelyn made a fateful decision. Sacrificing personal safety, she stayed behind to ensure data integrity, determined to safeguard vital information. Alone amidst crumbling walls and cascading debris, she fought to stabilize the monolith's core. Energy surged wildly, threatening overload. Commander Hale returned, refusing to leave her behind. Together, they battled against time and physics, wrestling controls into submission. Sweat poured, muscles screamed, but determination held firm. At last, stability restored, they fled hand in hand, emerging into daylight just as the structure imploded behind them. Survivors regrouped, battered but alive. Behind them lay destruction. Ahead stretched uncertainty. Yet triumph lingered, a reminder that cooperation transcended differences. Lessons learned promised brighter futures, provided humanity chose wisely moving forward. Recovery proved arduous. Physically exhausted and emotionally drained, the crew navigated aftermath challenges. Medical care addressed injuries sustained during the ordeal, while psychological support tackled trauma inflicted by close brushes with mortality. Reintegration required patience, as returning heroes grappled with readjustment to mundane routines. Public reaction varied widely. Some hailed them as saviors, crediting their bravery with averting catastrophe. Others viewed them skeptically, questioning motivations and demanding transparency. Media coverage amplified both praise and criticism, turning spotlight heat uncomfortable. Privacy evaporated overnight, replaced by relentless scrutiny. Evelyn bore brunt of attention, thrust unwillingly into celebrity status. Interviews dominated schedules, draining reserves already depleted. Despite fatigue, she persevered, leveraging platform to advocate unity and understanding. Stories shared inspired listeners worldwide, fostering dialogue previously lacking. Bridges built spanned divides once insurmountable. Scientific community embraced revelations eagerly, launching initiatives aimed at expanding knowledge bases. Collaborative projects sprang up globally, uniting researchers across disciplines. Funding flowed freely, empowering exploration previously deemed impossible. Innovation flourished, fueled by renewed spirit of inquiry. Yet shadows lingered. Questions unanswered haunted dreams, reminding constantly of work remaining. Could fragile peace endure? Or would old fears resurface, undermining efforts painstakingly undertaken? Only time would tell. The integration of humanity and the delegation marked a turning point in history. It wasn't seamless, far from it. Tensions simmered beneath the surface, fueled by centuries of ingrained mistrust and fear of the unknown. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, glimmers of hope began to emerge. Joint efforts between humans and the delegation led to groundbreaking discoveries that neither species could have achieved alone. One such breakthrough came in the form of renewable energy technology derived from the crystalline monolith's core design. The delegation shared fragments of their knowledge, revealing methods to harness energy without depleting Earth's finite resources. Solar panels evolved into something unrecognizable, devices capable of drawing power directly from ambient radiation, even in the absence of sunlight. Deserts once thought barren transformed into hubs of clean energy production, powering entire continents while leaving ecosystems untouched. Medical advancements followed swiftly. The delegation introduced concepts of cellular regeneration based on principles of quantum resonance, techniques so advanced they bordered on miraculous. Diseases once considered incurable vanished within months. Cancer, Alzheimer's, and countless other afflictions became relics of the past. Hospitals around the world adapted alien methodologies, blending them with human ingenuity to create treatments tailored to individual patients. Lifespans extended dramatically, but more importantly, quality of life soared. Space exploration reached new heights as well. The delegation's propulsion systems allowed for faster-than-light travel, opening doors to corners of the galaxy previously unreachable. Humanity's first interstellar colony took root on a distant exoplanet, chosen for its similarity to Earth. Colonists carried not only tools and supplies but also lessons learned from the delegation: sustainability, adaptability, and respect for the delicate balance of ecosystems. This marked the beginning of a diaspora unlike any seen before, a step toward ensuring the survival of both species should disaster strike again. Yet progress wasn't without its challenges. Cultural clashes persisted, often erupting into heated debates over ethics, governance, and resource allocation. Some argued that reliance on alien technology made humanity vulnerable, fearing dependence might strip away autonomy. Others saw collaboration as the only path forward, believing unity offered strength rather than weakness. These conflicts forced difficult conversations about identity, purpose, and coexistence. Through it all, Evelyn remained at the forefront, serving as mediator and advocate. Her role expanded beyond science. She became a symbol of diplomacy, bridging gaps between two vastly different civilizations. Each decision weighed heavily on her shoulders, knowing that missteps could unravel years of painstaking work. But she pressed on, driven by an unwavering belief in the potential for harmony. As decades passed, the legacy of this partnership grew deeper roots. Monuments dedicated to the alliance sprouted across the globe, standing as testaments to sacrifices made along the way. Cities redesigned themselves to reflect shared values. Parks replaced concrete jungles, vertical farms minimized environmental impact, and public spaces encouraged interaction among diverse populations. Even language evolved, incorporating elements of the delegation's intricate tonal communication system. Words once foreign now rolled off tongues effortlessly, fostering understanding where barriers once stood. Education underwent a revolution. Schools adopted curricula emphasizing empathy, critical thinking, and cross-disciplinary problem-solving. Students studied not just human history but also the histories of the delegation's lost worlds, learning from mistakes that had led to their downfall. Lessons weren't confined to classrooms. Virtual reality simulations immersed learners in scenarios requiring cooperation under pressure, preparing future generations for challenges yet unseen. Art flourished during this era, transcending traditional boundaries. Musicians composed symphonies blending earthly melodies with the haunting harmonics emitted by the delegation's crystals. Visual artists created murals depicting scenes of unity, using pigments derived from alien minerals that shimmered like starlight. Writers penned epics chronicling the journey from conflict to camaraderie, capturing nuances of emotion unique to this unprecedented chapter in existence. Philosophy, too, experienced a renaissance. Thinkers grappled with questions of morality in a universe suddenly much larger and stranger than previously imagined. What did it mean to be human when humanity no longer existed in isolation? How could justice be served when laws varied so drastically between species? These discussions sparked movements advocating for universal rights applicable regardless of origin, laying groundwork for policies protecting all sentient beings. Despite these strides, shadows lingered. Not everyone embraced change willingly. Resistance groups formed in secret, decrying what they viewed as surrender to an alien agenda. They accused leaders of prioritizing technological advancement over cultural preservation, warning that humanity risked losing itself in pursuit of progress. While small in number, their influence spread through whispers and propaganda, planting seeds of doubt in minds susceptible to fear. Evelyn watched these developments with growing concern. She understood the frustrations driving dissent but feared regression would undo everything achieved thus far. Public addresses became frequent, urging patience and perseverance. "We are building something extraordinary," she declared at one such gathering. "But foundations require time to settle. Let us trust in the strength of our combined vision." Her words resonated with many, though skepticism persisted. Balancing idealism with pragmatism proved a constant struggle, one that demanded vigilance lest hard-won gains slip away. The next century unfolded against a backdrop of cautious optimism. Humanity and the Delegation continued navigating the complexities of cohabitation, refining strategies honed through trial and error. Innovations multiplied exponentially, reshaping every facet of daily life. Transportation networks spanned planets, connecting communities separated by light years. Communication devices enabled instant translation across languages, eliminating barriers once deemed insurmountable. Food synthesized from raw molecules provided nutrition without harm to animals or ecosystems. Yet, alongside marvels came reminders of fragility. Climate shifts accelerated despite mitigation efforts, underscoring the urgent need for continued stewardship. Natural disasters struck with increasing frequency, testing resilience forged in adversity. And tensions flared periodically, particularly among those resistant to integration. Protests erupted sporadically, demanding greater transparency and accountability from governing bodies overseeing interspecies relations. In response, joint councils formed to address grievances openly. Representatives from both sides convened regularly, hashing out disputes through dialogue rather than confrontation. Compromises emerged slowly but surely, proving effective in quelling unrest. Education campaigns emphasized mutual benefits of cooperation, highlighting achievements born of unity. Gradually, opposition softened, giving way to reluctant acceptance if not outright enthusiasm. Scientific endeavors pushed boundaries further still. Astrophysicists collaborated with delegation counterparts to map uncharted regions of space, identifying habitable zones ripe for colonization. Biologists worked tirelessly to catalog extraterrestrial flora and fauna, uncovering properties with applications ranging from medicine to material science. Engineers developed infrastructure capable of withstanding extreme conditions, paving the way for settlements on moons orbiting gas giants and asteroids drifting through voids. Amidst these pursuits, Evelyn stepped back from active involvement. Age had taken its toll, leaving her physically frail though mentally sharp as ever. Retirement afforded opportunity for reflection, allowing her to witness fruits of labor sown long ago. Grandchildren visited often, sharing tales of adventures she'd only dreamed possible in youth. Pride swelled within her chest, tempered by awareness of responsibilities awaiting successors. "You've given us a gift beyond measure," Commander Hale remarked during a rare visit. Now elderly himself, he retained vigor characteristic of military discipline. A legacy worth preserving. Evelyn smiled faintly, gaze fixed on stars twinkling outside her window. "It's not mine alone," she replied softly. "Nor yours. It belongs to everyone brave enough to embrace it." Centuries later, stories of the delegation remained etched in collective memory. Textbooks recounted events leading up to first contact, detailing trials faced and triumphs earned. Holographic exhibits recreated pivotal moments, immersing visitors in experiences shaping destiny. Oral traditions preserved personal accounts, passing wisdom from generation to generation. By then, distinctions between human and delegation blurred almost entirely. Hybrids walked among purebreds, indistinguishable save for subtle traits hinting at mixed heritage. Genetic exchange proved mutually beneficial, enhancing physical attributes while retaining cognitive diversity crucial for innovation. Culture melded seamlessly, resulting in customs rich with variety yet unified in spirit. Technological prowess reached zeniths once relegated to fantasy. Entire cities floated above oceans, powered by fusion reactors mimicking stars' cores. Terraforming initiatives rendered desolate landscapes hospitable, creating sanctuaries for displaced populations. Medical care eliminated suffering altogether, focusing instead on enhancement and self-actualization. Even mortality seemed poised for conquest. Research into consciousness transfer promised immortality, not merely extension of lifespan but liberation from biological constraints altogether. Ethical debates raged anew, questioning implications of severing ties to corporeal forms. Would essence remain intact, or would transition dilute identity irreparably? Answers eluded consensus, mirroring dilemmas faced centuries prior. Yet willingness to engage signaled maturity attained through hardship endured. Challenges no longer fractured societies but strengthened resolve to overcome obstacles together. Looking skyward, descendants marveled at constellations unchanged since ancestors gazed upward seeking meaning. Stars served as reminders of journeys undertaken and paths remaining untrodden. Infinite possibilities stretched ahead, beckoning explorers bold enough to venture forth. And so, humanity, alongside allies who had once inspired terror, continued forging ahead. Boundaries dissolved, horizons expanded, dreams realized gave rise to aspirations loftier still. Through unity born of adversity, existence transcended limitations imposed by circumstance. Together, they stood ready to face whatever lay beyond, secure in knowledge that strength resided not in separation but solidarity. Don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories exploring mysteries hidden within the cosmos.